who feel that everybody could, if pressured enough, become and have a psychotic episode like this. And there are others who feel that only those who have a tendency to easy disorganization of the brain by their metabolism, that only they can get the psychotic trips. Because certainly when we analyze the underlying strife or conflicts that go on in a schizophrenic when they have recovered enough, that we find not too different a set of circumstances than what we find in the neurotic.
Parents strongly cautioned the following programs are intended for mature audiences over the age of 18. These programs may contain some material that many parents would not find suitable for children and may include intense violence, sexual situations, coarse language, and suggestive dialogue.
To save the patient from what would otherwise be a severe neurotic The patient that you saw me walking with demonstrates on the 8th day after admission the continuing presence of a catatonic pattern.
All right, welcome back. I done fucked up this year. God dang, look at me leaving damn logos on the fucking screen. We've had a month off before season.
What kind of operation is this?
We're the best. We're the best.
I gotta get back into it. Fuck me up.
Start again. Start over.
Yeah, we've been off for a month. We're back with season 4. This is the season premiere, and of course, we had to have some badass motherfuckers on here. So we got Alfonso from HeartSick.
Thanks, man.
You guys are fucking amazing.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Amazing. I know I seen you guys on a festival flyer not too long ago, and I can't remember what fest. I want to say it was maybe Michigan Metal Fest or something.
No, it was probably what was the festival? It was a festival in Canada. The last more prominent festival we did was in Canada. We were in Alberta, a place called Drumheller, which is about an hour and 30 minutes from Calgary. Apparently it's the world's hub for Tyrannosaurus Rex bones, which is interesting.
Okay. All right, cool.
Interesting.
So I remember seeing your name, and it dawned on me. I was like, man, I've heard that band, but I've heard the name before. I was like, well, shit, now I want to go fucking check it out. So I pulled you up on YouTube, and I was like, holy shit, how have I not fucking seen this goddamn band before? So it was like, I jump on, and we used to have a music video show that we did, and we put you on that. And I don't know who it was that commented, but it was somebody from your band was like, dude, we'd love to come on your fucking show. And I'm like, fuck yes, let's do this shit.
I think it was me. I run all our socials and shit. That's why I look like I'm fucking 84, because I'm always fucking exhausted and stressed the fuck out. So it's probably me.
So I'm gonna go into some hard shit. So what is the most difficult lesson that you've had to learn to this point being with HeartSick?
Shit, man. I have a hard time saying like something like difficult, like because so I don't know, like I guess I'm a judo and jiu-jitsu instructor. I teach at Michigan State University.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Um, and I've been coaching and I've been doing martial arts since I was like 9. So my mentality towards difficulty is a little different than a lot of people, because I guess for me what somebody might see as like, oh my god, that's like so what hard and crazy, I kind of see as like it's just another stepping stone in life. I mean, I don't think anything in life is easy. I mean, especially now, I think people have this perception, because of the internet, and now we're introducing AI and all this other stuff, and it's this idea, this perception that you know things happen like immediately, and that like you're gonna be famous or whatever it is. Like the internet is
Instant
a great
gratification.
it's a great yeah, it's a great place for things to seem like instant, right? And that's not true at all. I mean, in fact, it's actually completely false. So for me, I've always just grown up with the sensibility of things are just never easy. So we've had a lot of difficult things happen. I mean, I can think of a million things that are difficult, but it's supposed to be. If things were like super easy and we never had any sort of like strife, then we would either be like super rich and just were born with spoons in our mouths, or we would essentially just be people who were just not astute to what life is. So it's hard for me to pick something that's really difficult, but if I had to say the one thing that definitely was, in my opinion, where I feel it's like difficult because it's loss, and it's not like music loss, it's not like something that happens in life that like, oh, like I lost my the band. I think the only thing that really makes sense is the death of our drummer Matt, back in 2014. Our drummer, the original drummer of what would have been HeartSick and was the second drummer of No Life, which we used to be called No Life back in the day, KNOWYFE. He passed away, and that's the reason why we changed the band name. And we're all really close friends, like myself, Waylon, our bass player, Jared, our guitar player, and our drummer now, Barrick. And we're a really tight group of people. I've known Waylon and Jared, and we've been in this band just under a different name for 25 years. Haven't played in another band with anybody outside of when I was in high school. The only other band I've ever been in my life was my high school band with my best man in my wedding and my best friend. His name is Alex. So
Wow.
when we started No Life in 2000, which would eventually become HeartSick, we had our original drummer, who's still a good buddy of ours. His name is Nick, and Nick quit, and Matt came into the picture, and Matt was the drummer. We didn't look for another drummer. He was our drummer. Unfortunately, Matt had difficulties in his life that, it's everybody handles things differently, and everybody goes through strife and struggle. And, he was battling a battle that a lot of people lose. And he, unfortunately, one night after his birthday had a little too much, and, he just didn't wake up. And I'd say like, that's probably the hardest thing we ever dealt with as a band, because it goes beyond just music and superficial shit. Like, I mean, to me, all of this is, I don't want to say it's superficial, but it's like in the grand scheme of things, it's not the end of all be all, right? Like, if we miss a
Right.
show, it's like, okay, whatever. Well, there's more shows, there's more music, there's more whatever. If we've had van accidents where we've almost died in a huge van accident. It's like, you lose your van, you lose all your gear. Like, there's more gear, but people, human beings, you can't replace that. You can't replace the people you love. Once they're gone, they're gone. And I'd say that was probably the most difficult. But at the same time, it's like I said, I have a different mentality of what difficult is. And we look at that, and it's like Matt's passing led to the band sort of reforming into a new name. You know, the reason why we changed the band name was to honor Matt, because Matt hated our original band name, which was No Life. He absolutely despised the name. I mean, he like no one could talk better shit about this band than Matt. Like he fucking hated that name. So everything, yeah, it's true. So everything about this band was kind of predicated on his loss. And although that was a difficult thing to go through, and it still is, like I still feel really emotional talking about it. You know, I'm never over it. That was one of my best friends ever. You know, we all lived together. You know, we toured together all of the time. We lived in a van together. We literally lived in the same house. Losing someone like that was brutal, but at the same time, I think that difficulty led to where the band is now. It sort of made us rethink the band. You know, we got a new band name. We started writing different types of material. We started delving into like 7 and 8 string guitars, which we never did before. So it's like losing Matt sucked, and it will always suck, but there's something there that was born from that difficulty, you know, and I feel like that's probably the most difficult thing. And it was difficult not because it was like, oh, what are we gonna do about the band or whatever. It was difficult because that's our boy, man. We lost a good person. And that's really all that mattered. Everything else, like, sure, we've had a bunch of crazy dumb shit happen. Like I said, we got into a really terrible van accident. We all almost died, you know, like we've been stranded in the middle of nowhere. None of that shit matters, bro. That's like whatever. Who gives a shit? You just keep going. Like it's the same thing if you're like, you know, you're doing judo or jiu-jitsu or you're grappling. It's like if somebody takes your back and they get a rear naked, or they're gonna, you know, get you in an ankle lock or a heel hook, or, you know, they get a throw. It's like whatever, bro. Like that shit happens. You just got to get back up and you got to keep going. So all these other things don't feel difficult, because I think we've been through the most difficult thing that you could ever go through as a band, and that's literally losing someone that you love, you know, and having all of those types of emotions always tied in, you know, and everybody handles those things differently. So for us, losing him, I'd say that's probably the most difficult shit for sure.
That makes my gas station sushi story irrelevant from here on out. I never have to tell it again.
Yeah. I want to hear about this van situation. That was going to be one of my questions. Was like, what was like we're fine, and you weren't fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, like that was like a surreal moment. I mean, that was like years and years ago. So like I said, before we were HeartSick, we were a band called No Life. We just changed the name when Matt passed away. And so when we were No Life, we used to play up north in Michigan a lot. In Michigan, it's called a place called Ludington. Our guitar player was originally from Ludington, Michigan, and he lived up there. He went to high school there. And for whatever reason, back in the day, No Life started getting really popular, and that band started getting really popular in Ludington. So we would go play these shows, these DIY shows up there, and have like 200, 300, 400, 500 people just show up. So we had played a show. We were driving back. We had at this time we didn't have like a trailer or anything. We had like a 1500 Dodge passenger van, and so we would stick all our gear in the back of the van, and it'd be like, you know, driver, passenger, and 2 bench seats, and all our gear in the back. And we were just driving back home, and it just happened that there was a really bad ice storm, and I was driving. And I'm originally from Miami, Florida. So driving in the cold is not like my favorite thing in the world, but I know how to do it. And I knew what to look for if something was going to happen. So as we're driving, we're getting to a town called Ionia here. And I feel like the wheel jerk a little bit. So I went from like 70 to like about 45. I remember that like specifically. And maybe like a minute or two after slowing down, going 70 to going to like 45, the van just like starts fucking, you know, just fishtailing left and right. And I was like, there is no fucking way we're getting out of this. Cause I mean, we have an entire van full of a bunch of fucking gear. Cause back then we had like guitar cabs and guitar heads and a bunch of shit. All our merch was back there. So the weight was already there. So if it was going to start leaning, I just let go of the wheel and I was like, you guys need to hold on. And the next thing I know, we wake up, all of us, like I guess we all got knocked out and wake up and there's like shit all over the fucking median of the highway. It's cold as hell. And the only place we could get out of was the front windshield because it didn't like crack. It just flew off.
Whoa.
So we get out and, we start pulling everybody out of the van. Amazingly, by God's grace, I don't know, not a single person had anything, like not a scratch, nothing at all. Nothing, no blood, nothing. And we were just like standing in the highway and just kind of waiting there. And we saw like a state trooper, like maybe like a mile up the road, but he was just tending to other cars because this was a really bad ice storm. And he finally got to us. And the first thing he said, because we didn't know, like we didn't look around in the sense of like how bad the accident was. We were just like shaken up. I mean, Jesus Christ, we almost died, right?
Right.
So this officer shows up and he's like, "Oh, you guys are alive." And we're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I was you guys for last because I figured you guys were dead." And then that kind of like dawned on us. We're like, "What the fuck?"
The fuck? Who is? What the fuck?
Looking around and we noticed that the van is literally split in half.
Oh my
Titanic.
god!
Yeah, like the van,
Titanic's your van.
like the van like split and bent like in the center, right? And all the windows were blown out and we were like, "Oh shit." And he's like, "Yeah, I thought you guys all flew out the van and just you're all dead. I mean, look at your van. You guys, there's no way you guys should be alive." And yeah, that was like the craziest like shit that happened to us at that time,
At this point, I think you went through every fucked up thing that could possibly.
No, we need to lighten the mood.
You ain't got nowhere to go but up at this point.
Oh yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like I think about that moment, and then I think about Matt's death, and I'm like, that moment seems funny to me because we still had our lives, right? It's the moment where somebody is gone. And then I think about those moments, and then I'll think about stories in my life where it's like that unintentionally was my first brush with death. And when you kind of get to that point, and then you have experiences later when we were on tour, like we were on tour in 2008, and Matt was still alive at this time. And we were down in Florida. Like I said, I'm originally from Miami, Florida. So we were playing some shows down in Miami where I was staying with my mom and her boyfriend at the time. And to make a really long story short, we were supposed to play in Naples, and my mom had just started seeing this guy. My mom and my dad had just kind of gotten divorced. It was like this whole weird thing. So I wanted to make my mom happy. And since we were at my mom's apartment near the beach and we had time, I went to go spearfishing with my mom's boyfriend. Long story short, I end up drowning and dying and get like saved and dragged out of the ocean by lifeguards and get resuscitated and shit. And then I was like, okay, this sucks. We missed it. And I was pissed because we missed the show. So
9 lives, not no
yeah.
life.
Yeah. So that same night, since that happened, I had to go to my dad's because I promised my dad I was going to go down there. So I got a ride from a buddy and went to my buddy's house, and then was at my buddy's house for like 2 or 3 hours or something. And then my other buddy was like, "Yo, I'll take you to your dad's," because I live down by there, because I left the guys with the van and the trailer and stuff. And as we're going to my dad's, again, long story short, my buddy runs a red light and we get sideswiped by a Grand Dam, Pontiac Grand Dam. It's going like 70 miles per hour, never hit his brakes, and hit me directly on the side. And cops didn't really show up for a while, and they got there like, "Oh, we thought you guys were dead." And I was like, "What?" So I looked at the car, and the car that hit us so hard that his engine fell out. And my buddy's car was like completely bent in half. But for whatever reason, My window didn't shatter. My door stayed locked and shut, and nothing happened to me. And yeah, so like I don't know, man. It's like everything else. When you experience things like that, it's like the rest is like whatever, bro. Cool. We're broke down on the side of the road. We'll figure it out.
You can die.
It's invincible.
No, like for me, the only crazy part about that story specifically, where like we were on tour and I literally almost died in the same day twice. The only part of that story that was really like weird for me was so my mom was out on the beach, sitting on the beach while me and her boyfriend were out spearfishing. And now I don't know if you guys have ever been to the ocean or if you swim in the ocean. Like I'm Puerto Rican, Dominican. The ocean's like home for me, right?
Live on the
Living,
beach.
I live
yeah,
on an island, so
yeah. So Miami is like I'm always by the beach. That's like the thing. So if you go in the ocean, the currents are really brutal. Like especially if you start going later in the day, the current starts to drag you out.
Yeah.
So when we started getting dragged out, essentially it was like we ended up about half a mile out into the ocean from the shore. And I remember specifically being in the ocean and being really tired and being like, shit, I got to go back. And I try to swim back and I start getting dragged out by the fucking tide or whatever. And I'm like, I can't, don't panic, don't freak out. But then there comes a point in time where you're like, you start looking and you're like, yeah, this is really bad. Like, I don't see people, I see dots, that type of bad. So I lost my shit. And then I started to drown because the waves were really coming in. And the two things that I remember about that was I remember being really, really, really terrified and just battling. Like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die at all. This is going to suck. My mom's going to be pissed and so depressed because you're not going to find my body. And I also remember just yelling my mom's name, like the entire, like not my mom's name, but yelling like, Mom, help me, like for no reason. I'm like half a mile out in the ocean. Ain't nobody going to see you. The waves are just like crashing in. I'm like swallowing water, the whole fucking thing. Whatever you see in Hollywood, it was that. And there came a point in time where I was like, all right, I think I'm going to die. And like there's this weird feeling you get. And it's acceptance, but that acceptance that I felt was like, it's hard. It sounds so cliche, and I am not the most religious person in the world, but I just was like, I can still hear the voice to this day that was just like, it's okay, you're gonna be okay, it'll be fine, just let go. And I just like was like, okay. And I just remember like feeling like I was getting the best hug I've ever had in my life. And I just saw like, again, super cliche. I know it sounds cliche, but it was like, I just heard like a whoosh and a you'll be good and a white light. And then I woke up on the beach and I was like, what happened? They're like, oh, you drowned. Like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And then my mom's standing over me and I'm like, how did you guys find me? Because I've been in the ocean all of my life and I know how far I was. I know that the chances of surviving that are like 0%. You get stuck out half a mile in the ocean and you're as dark as I am in that fucking water in Miami, ain't nobody gonna find your black ass, okay? So I was like, how the fuck did you guys find me? And this is the part that really freaked me out. My mom said, I heard you in my dream. And I said, what? And she's like, I fell asleep on the beach and I heard you calling me saying, Mom, please help me. Mom, please help me. And I woke up and I ran to the lifeguard and I said, my son is out there. And they said, yes, we see someone. My mom saved my life.
Holy shit, that is wild.
Yeah, that's probably like the weirdest feeling in the world. For sure.
All right, Coffsey, you're up, bro.
Kind of hard to lead up with stories like that. Oh, wow.
Let's do something fun.
You guys can ask me anything. I don't give a fuck. I'll answer anything. So please don't hold back. Like I have no
Oh,
filter
we
at
never
all.
do. Cough sick.
Favorite TV show to binge watch on when you're trying to relax?
Dude, I'll be honest, man. I don't really watch TV, bro. Like I just don't have time. The only time I have time to watch anything that, like, especially like streaming, is like when we're out on the road and we're on tour. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'll watch. So as of late, because we've been playing a lot of shows and we actually were just out on the road. We were out in Iowa for a few days and in Indiana. And I've been for whatever reason. Do you guys ever watch Rick and Morty at all?
Yes.
Okay, so if you watch Rick and Morty, Netflix just put on the spin-off of that, which is the Solar Opposites. So I've been like binge watching the shit out of the Solar Opposites for like 3 days because we were out on the road. But if like when I'm home, I don't have the time, like between like, I work my regular 9 to 5 and then I manage the band. I got a kid, I got a wife, and then I have 2 other jobs. I work a side hustle. I do grocery delivery on the side because I'm the only income for my family. My wife doesn't work because we have a son and daycare is just impossible. And it's just not a realistic thing. And I don't understand how anybody does it. So my wife stays home with her son all day. So I work my regular job and then I work my side hustle. Then I manage and do everything for the band. And then I do my degrees in film. I graduated from Michigan State with a bachelor's in film. So I do just like freelance work and I just like edit things for people. Like right now I'm editing a bunch of weddings and shit. So I do that on the side. And then I teach the judo club at Michigan State University Mondays and Wednesdays from 7 to 9. So I don't have time. I do not like, I literally don't know what the fuck is on TV at all. Like at all. I have no fucking idea.
I feel you because I'm right there with you.
I remember when like Game of Thrones is like a big deal or something and people are like, have you seen Game of Thrones? And I'm like, don't know what it is. I've seen one episode and I think I saw an episode last year is when I started watching it and I just stopped watching it because I got busy. So
Crimson's my brother and we now live together. He moved here from Arizona and first time he moved here, he's like, oh, have you watched this? Have you watched this? Have you watched this? I'm like, what the fuck is that? No, I haven't watched any of this shit.
Yeah. My wife's always watching a bunch of bullshit. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Sometimes I'll get sucked into like something she's watching for a little bit. And I'm like, nah, I gotta go do shit. So, but right now it's Solar Opposites. I'm obsessed with Solar Opposites. This shit is so funny. But I'm a huge Rick and Morty fan. Rick and Morty, I used to watch that like just religiously.
Okay. All right, CB, you're up, bro.
So, are you a dog person or a cat person?
I am both. I actually have 3 dogs and 3 cats. I rescue dogs. So right now I have my mutt. His name is Eddie, and he's kind of like a shepherd collie mix. He's the size of a bus, fat wise, height of like an Australian collie. I don't know how he's so fat because we only feed him once a day, but the fucking thing is just like so unhealthy. But I don't know. He's a happy little boy. So I've got him, and then I've got my black pit. His name is Pablo. And then we just got a new dog. We just had a dog pass away within the last like year and a half. So we got a new dog. We added a female. Her name is Sweetie. Not my choice. That was the old name that they had. And this dog, love her to death. But it's one of those dogs when you look in the eyes and you're just like, there's not a lot going on up there. And I was not changing the dog's name, because I already knew it. And I was like, whoever had this dog probably spent their entire life trying to just get it to know its name because it doesn't listen for shit for anything else. So we got her, and she's fucking awesome. I love her to death, but she's like, have you ever had like a really bad good dog? Like they're just terrible. They just chew shit, and they fucking just do all the things you're not supposed to do, and you're like, God, if you weren't so cute. Yeah, but she's a super sweetheart. And then we have 3 cats. My oldest cat, she's like 17, still going.
Wow.
Yeah, she is deaf, blind, barely walks, but she's hanging on. She's doing well. And then we've got a cat named Bo, and then we have a cat named Luna. So yeah, I love both, man. I love animals, dude. I'm a huge animal freak. If I could own a raccoon, that is like my favorite animal in the whole world. I have so many plans if I own a raccoon. Like I literally have outfits picked out
No.
to match with a raccoon. Like I want a raccoon so I can have matching outfits with it and drink tea with it. Like they have opposable thumbs. Can you imagine just having like a
Tea
fucking
party.
like a gentleman's tea party
Oh,
with
man.
your raccoon? Like that's like, and I'm serious. I'm dead serious. Like
Yeah, you gotta start something. 'Cause my
love
wife is over on the couch and she immediately looks up and she was like, "I want one." No.
Yep.
I am. So yeah, I love animals, but yeah, dogs and cats, I love them.
Awesome.
All right. So, have you guys hit a point in your career at this point that you're just like, "Holy shit, I can't believe this is even happening"? Like, have you played with one of your idols yet? Like, has there been that moment? Like, it's just so surreal. You're like, I can't even believe that I'm fucking sitting here.
There's been a lot of moments, but like I think that's a fantastic question because, you know, as I've gotten older, a lot of the things that I thought or felt when I was younger, like in my 20s and my late teens and stuff, I would always get so excited about, and I'd be like, "Oh my god, this is freaking awesome!" Don't get me wrong, I still get super excited. I mean, I can't believe half the stuff we've done. But now that you ask that question, and like my mind is laser focused on that question, I think for me, the biggest one is the fact that we're still a band and people still care and we're still growing. That is wild to me. Because when you look at music in general and you look at art in general, especially when you look at rock and metal, and I mean, honest, no, most artists, if you look at if you really study the lifespan of any artist, you get about 10 years, right? And that's in the popular mainstream. So usually, like if we look at, let's go back and look at the 70s and the 60s, the Beatles, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, all of those eras lasted about 10 years. And the biggest bands in those eras really lasted about 10 years. And then something weird happens in this sort of like dichotomy of this graph, that those artists kind of plateau and they just kind of stop being popular anymore. And then another thing comes and becomes popular for about 10 years and then goes down, and so on and so forth. And you kind of just fade, right? We've never been a band that's been really big. And I don't have any regrets about that. And I think it's awesome that finally now, after the amount of time that we've been doing this, we're growing more. And I think that's amazing. But the goal was always to make music that we love and make art that we enjoy. I don't really give a shit about being a rock star. I'm not like a bunch of these other fucking idiots on the internet who are gonna, want to preserve themselves and don't want to talk about politics and they have no opinions and they just tell you to shut the fuck up and play music. That ain't me, and that ain't never gonna be me. I serve no master, and I'll never fucking bow to anybody. I don't give a shit unless you're on a mat. That's the only time I'm bowing to you. Other than that, like, we'll chop it up and it's cool. So having a career to where like we can get on the internet and at 43 people are discovering our record that we just put out and it's got over 120,000 streams in less than 2 weeks. Like that to me is wild. And don't get me wrong, we're nowhere where I would want us to be as like in popularity and stuff. I think obviously you have to be an artist, you have to be honest with yourself and say that no matter what, if you're trying to make art, you want people to see it. I think that deep down inside, we all, as artists, have the need to be validated by other people, right? Some of us have the need to be validated by other people, and it's self-serving. It's like, I want to be big, I want to be rock star, I want to be Ronnie Radke, I want to be fucking whatever. There's people that have that mentality, and then there's other people, that I feel like maybe I'm on that spectrum of like, I just want to change the world and have an impact in a positive way. and be able to spread it more and more and more and grow that. So I've always leaned more to like bands like Deftones and bands like 36 Crazy Fists and, you know, bands that to me may not have been huge, which is interesting because Deftones is now suddenly becoming popular, like really popular. I'm a huge Sleep Token fan before anybody knew who the fuck they were, you know, like things like that. Like, so in thinking about that question, I just think the most amazing part is that we've been able to stay relevant and that people still care. And that people still care about authenticity. I think that's really important. Being authentic is so important to me. I think that's why I just write the things that I write, and I kind of sometimes purposely shun some things away because I don't want to fall into that, like, you know, writing a song because it's cool and it's on the radio and it's popular. Like I don't give a fuck. Like I would rather play a room to 10 people who know every word to the song, and we can get off stage and have a conversation and talk about life and talk about losing somebody you love or your hobbies, your favorite things, and be in a room of 10,000 people that know all our songs but have beers in their hands and they're just listening to it because they just like the song and they don't give a shit about anything else. They're just there to fucking, you know, be with their buddies and shit. Like that's cool too, but I want to make a connection, man. That shit's important to me. That's the utmost important thing. All the things that I love art wise is because I feel this really deep connection. You know, it's like I'm a big Godzilla fan. I love Godzilla. Godzilla is one of my favorite monster characters of all time. But I love Godzilla because it reminds me of when I was a kid and I would watch those things and hang out with my dad and like those things. So being relevant still and actually growing is crazy to me. I mean, but there's been tons of times where I'm just like, what the like we played Aftershock Festival, like, you know, like what the fuck was that?
Hell yeah.
Yes, you did. Actually, I think that's where I seen your name at was Aftershock.
Yeah, so I mean, I got to play on the same like festival that had Bring Me the Horizon like right down from us. Like we've played Incarceration, we've played Louder Than Life, we've, you know, I've met and had Corey Taylor watching my band play. Like all of these things are just so wild to me. And you can go and you look, and I could go in my memory bank and like pick out all those things and all those, but it's like, I don't know, man. Like when I'm not interested in looking cool or being cool. For me, what really stands out is like I am 43 years old, and me, Jared, and Waylon started this band when we were 18, and we're still in this band making music and having people like you wanting to like talk to us and excited about it. That to me is way cooler than, oh look, Corey Taylor's watching my band. Sure, that's like cool. I will never forget that, having a conversation with that guy. But I'm in and out of that guy's mind in 2 minutes. You know, I got to stand right next to Jose Mangan, and Jose Mangan watched my band. Cool. Jose Mangan doesn't return a fucking email. You do. You're more important. Like that to me, this way more important than those things.
I wish there was more like you because there's not. You're a very, very rare breed.
Oh, thanks, man.
All right, Meg. Yeah, girl.
What do y'all like to do after a show? Like, what is your post-show, like, standard chain of events?
Usually after a show, first thing is try not to puke. Try not to puke. Probably start icing my knees. No. No. I like me. I like to just go and talk to people. I like to get off stage, pack our shit, and I like to be in the crowd. I genuinely love being in the atmosphere of a show. When we were on tour with Nonpoint and Crowbot and Nonpoint and Upon a Burning Body, we'd play our set, put our stuff away, and I really love to go out into the crowd and just be part of the show, just be another person in the crowd, and really always reminding myself of being 16 and 15 and watching bands and be like, I want to do that. And I never want to forget that feeling. So I always go and be out in the crowd to always be 16 and always be 15. And always remember, like, I get to do something at a level that may not be the level that I've reached yet, but that some kid in the crowd right now wants to reach. I am what somebody was. I am to that kid or to that person what somebody was to me. So it's important for me to be representative of that. And then also it's important because when we don't play the big shows and there's nobody there, because let's be honest, let's have a really honest conversation. You know, not all our shows are packed. I mean, we just played 3 days in Iowa. I mean, 2 days in Iowa and a day in Indiana. And it's like the 2 days that we played in Iowa, it was really cold. It was outside. They tried to do this festival. There was like fucking maybe 7 people there. And then the show in Indiana at the Hoosier Dome, it wasn't promoted very well at all. We got kind of added last minute. There was literally nobody there. No one there. I have no fucking problem saying that because you should appreciate those moments because it brings you back to where you need to be, and that is in reality, and that is cemented to what life is really about, and it's about experiences. So, you know, when I'm there and there's nobody there and there's other bands playing to nobody, it's so important to me after we're done playing to go watch those other bands and be there for them, because that could be the difference of some 15-year-old kid who has to play this local show and nobody showed up and all the other fucking bands left, and he just feels like, you know what, this is pointless. I don't want that kid to feel that. So if I can stand in front of the crowd and just be like, yo, and just watch and just stand there and watch them, maybe that'll be the difference between them quitting and keep going, you know? So that's what I like.
I'm glad you said that, because some of, like, me growing up, and me and you are about the same age, but I've been in this shit for a long time, and all my most, like, memorable bands that I remember the most are ones that went out in the crowds. Like, the first time I ever seen Gemini Syndrome was at a huge festival. They were playing.
Yeah.
They were playing Welcome to Rockville. And it was before nobody knew who the fuck they were. So I went, and I always had a habit because I worked for an FM station at the time, and I was young. I was in my low 20s. I was like, I'm okay. I got sent to Welcome to Rockville, but I was supposed to just be taking pictures and maybe getting an interview if I could, but it wasn't really happening. Well, Gemini Syndrome, when they got off stage, they jumped the fence and came out into the crowd and started shaking everybody's hand, taking pictures, handing CDs out. One of them came up and seen the radio station, which was a smaller station, and he was like, hey, do you want to do an interview with me? And I'm like, yeah, when? He's like, right now. And fucking took me over to VIP, and we did an interview right then and there.
Because that's what it needs to be about, man. See, you remember that, right? It's like,
I've never forgot it. The same thing with the Butcher Babies. The very first time I met the Butcher Babies, they did something very similar. As soon as they got off stage, they were touring with OTEP, and it was before they even signed to Century Media or anything. And I was standing in the back of the crowd, and sure as shit, before I know it, Heidi and Carla was standing right behind me, and I turned around, they started talking to me. I didn't go up, they started talking to me. And then next thing I know, I'm on the damn tour bus doing a fucking interview. And then they went back out there, and they were in the crowd the entire fucking time.
Yeah, that shit's important, man. You know, and it's so to me that stuff is so invaluable. But again, for me, it's really doing that is really about giving people a sense of you know, closeness, but also a sense of authenticity. You know, like, that's who I really am, and I don't want people to be like, I don't feel comfortable with like, oh, like I'm in the back, like, oh, I'm some cool singer. I'm a fucking dork, dude. I watch way too much anime, you know, when I have time. I fucking have a bunch of toys in my office at work, a bunch of fucking anime. Like, I love Godzilla, I love Star Wars. I'm a real big fucking nerd, you know, like things like that.
I am too. I'm a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah, same.
Star Wars fan.
You know, the rest of the band, like Waylon and Jared, our guitar player and our bass player, those dudes are really chill. And those dudes to go back and just chill in the van and hang out and just kind of hang out with the other bands because we don't get to like meet a lot of people sometimes. So those guys like to just have beers and smoke weed with like people in general. They'll be out in the crowd sometimes too, but they're more like laid back. They like to just kind of like relax and shit and chill. Our drummer Barrick, he's a lot like me, so he likes to be out in the crowd too. So it's kind of like we all kind of almost do the same thing, except some of those guys like to drink and party, and just, you know, smoke weed and shit. I don't drink, I don't smoke. I've never done a drug in my life. I've been drunk one time. I was 25. I don't drink anything. I don't even drink caffeine most of the time. I'll drink coffee, but I don't drink soda. I drink water and I drink coffee, and that's it. So, you know, I don't really party. I just like to hang out. All the things I've done in my life that are crazy is because I don't have an excuse. I wasn't drunk. I'm just stupid. You know, I'm like, okay, I'll just do it. You know.
All right, fair enough. All right, Coffee, you're up, bro.
All right. If you had to pick one ice cream for the rest of your life, what would that one ice cream be?
Oh, dude, easy. Cookies and cream, Oreo, all day long.
Thank you. Thank
Very
you.
good.
The second runner up is fish food. Is fish
Oh,
food.
yeah,
Fish food is really, really good. I try to like stay away from like ice cream, specifically fish food, because I will not realize how fast it goes, and I'll just eat the entire fucking piece of it, and I'm just like, what? I'm a piece of shit now.
You feel guilty every bite you feel.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, great. Dad bod.
It's so good.
Trust me, I came home from work today, and my wife went to work with me. She's like, I don't want to sit at the house, so she went to work with me. We got home, and the first thing she's like, I'm kind of hungry, and she opens up the fridge and is like handing me ice cream, and we like just walked to the car. I'm just like,
That's really funny.
all right, CB, you're up, brother.
What is the single craziest thing that you have ever purchased online?
Oh, what is the craziest thing I've ever purchased online? I am such a, like, sometimes I have these questions and I'm like, wow, I'm a really boring person. I need to do some weird shit. I don't know. Like, I don't feel like anything that I've bought is like super crazy. Like, I don't come from money. I grew up poor as shit in Miami, Florida, like in the fucking hood. So I've never really had money. And, you know, even though I've been able to like get better jobs and, you know, do the whole school thing or whatever, I still don't make a lot of money. So I've never really been able to like dabble in that. But I think I would say the one thing that I bought on the internet that I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this, was I bought a guitar for like $2,000, and that was like a big deal for me because I wasn't making payments. I just like paid $2,000 for a guitar. Well, let me take that back. I borrowed my sister's credit card and sent her $2,000 a month later. And I bought a guitar like that. Like, that's probably the craziest like online purchase I've ever made. I think the only other one that I would say, and again, it's not crazy, like I had everybody, like our guitar player and our bass player, Waylon and Jared, they're big technology guys like me. Those dudes are into video games specifically. They're huge gamers, huge gamers. I'm not. I don't really play video games. But I went and had gone to Waylon's house years ago when I first moved into my house now that I bought. And Waylon had just bought himself like a 65-inch TV. And at this time, I was working at the credit union here in Michigan State University Federal Credit Union. I was in the IT team there. And it was my first time ever really getting a job that I was getting paid more than like $15 an hour. It's like my first soiree into like $20 or more. And I was like, oh shit. So and my wife was able to work. My wife was working, like we weren't married yet. And, you know, so there was a little bit more money to play around with. We didn't have a kid or nothing. And I got back from his house, and I walked into my living room, and I had this like 45-inch TV on the wall, and I was like, you go like if you've ever seen a 65-inch TV or anything bigger, and then you look at a 45-inch, you're like, that's nonsense. And right then I was like, fuck that, dude. Bass player can't have a bigger TV than the singer. So I went on Amazon and bought an 85-inch TV.
Oh my god.
That's probably like the only other one, you know.
Fucking pissing contest over
Yeah,
TV.
yeah. And I purposely invited him over. I was like, "Hey, man, you want to come over, bro? Let's hang out." And I didn't tell him. And I was like, "You like my TV?" And I kind of looked at him.
That's amazing.
Oh my god.
So, if you guys could put together a tour and you could pick any 3 bands to take with you on tour, who would you choose to go on tour with?
Oh, that's it. Well, it's got to be 4 because there's 4 of us. So, easy. Sleep Token, Deftones, Gojira, System of a Down. Like,
Hell yeah.
You named 2 of my like top
Our-
5 favorite bands. So
our guitar player is like a gigantic System of a Down fan and a gigantic Gojira fan. Our drummer is like a guy like ginormous Gojira fan. Me, our bass player, I mean everybody in this band is a giant Deftones fan. Like we literally celebrate Deftones Day. And then we put out a record, you know. And then I'm like a massive Sleep Token fan. I've been listening to Sleep Token when they first put out their cover of Yeah. My buddy,
Oh
who lives in Miami. Me and him, like we've always like me and my friends back home in Miami have always been like audiophiles, man. We always got it's always been a thing about like finding new bands. Like that to me, like one of my biggest dreams outside of being like in a band and like touring and like playing big shows and being on like reputable tours has always been to be A&R for a label of some sort and find and discover talent. So at an early age, we would just look for music all the time. And so me and my best friend from Miami, Alex, will always call each other and just be like, "Hey, have you heard any new band? Show me a new band." And at the time we were in the studio recording some new music, and he's like, "Oh, check out this band." And he's like, "Check out these 2 bands, a band called 32 Leaves and a band called Sleep Token." And this was like in 2018, 2019. And the only 2 songs there's 3 songs that you could find for Sleep Token. It was Jaws, Yeah, Oh Hey Ya, and some other song that they had on there. And that was it. And I was like, yo, this band is fucking phenomenal. And then I would go online and post all the time my fucking Sleep Token gospel, and everybody would just be like, "Yeah, fucking idiot, they fucking suck, that was bullshit." And everybody that talks shit was like, "Oh, I love Sleep Token." And I was like, "Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
you."
You like a bad motherfucker.
Fair weather fuckers.
Do you remember this post? You know?
I do.
So yeah, those would definitely be the bands for sure.
Okay. All right, Meg, you're up.
All right. What are y'all looking forward to for the rest of 2025? What y'all working towards?
So very excited. We're going to Puerto Rico to play some shows. We usually go to Puerto Rico once every other year. So I was born in Puerto Rico. My mom is Dominican. And years ago, we met a band and brought a band from Puerto Rico to tour with us. This was years and years ago. And we ended up being able to go play shows because the buddy that was in that band promotes shows in Puerto Rico.
Awesome.
So every other year, yeah, it's super amazing. It really is. Every other year we'll go and we'll play a couple of shows in Puerto Rico. And what we usually end up doing is like, we'll get like an Airbnb and then we just invite our friends and we're like, "Hey, if you split the Airbnb with us and you split the van rental cost, we'll all just be in Puerto Rico for a week and it'll be super cheap." So it ends up being like 20 of us, and we essentially rent like a fucking compound, and it ends up being like in total with flights and everything, and everybody splitting stuff. It ends up being like $700 a person.
Fuck
You're
yeah.
there for a week.
That's so worth it.
And we literally live, and you literally with this the Airbnb we stay in is like a gigantic compound. You get your own room, $700 each person. That includes the flight. That includes the rental of our van so we can bring everybody around. That includes the Airbnb and everything. It's usually around that price. So we do it once every other year. So this is the year that we're doing it. So definitely looking forward to that. I always throw a birthday show here in our hometown in Lansing, and it's always a theme. Last year we did like a Halloween Christmas type thing. This year we're doing it's called the Gothic Masquerade. So everybody's gonna be dressed in black. We're gonna give everybody masquerade masks, and we're gonna play a golden record for everybody. And I book just bands that I like and that I think are just dope and that I've found, that are like locals or from other different areas. So we've got that. We go play in Pennsylvania the next day, thing called Mosh for Tots, and that's always really, really cool. But yeah, that's like it for 2025. Like we're pretty much
That's a lot,
done
though.
for the year. Yeah, so we have like 3 more shows, and then we go to Puerto Rico, and then we're like whatever, and then we
That's
chill.
so awesome.
Badass.
All right. So I'm gonna leave the last question of the night for Coffee. After that, everybody that's watching, please stay put because if you've watched this show enough, we play a music video at the end, and we actually have a music video from HeartSick, Debt to Pay, which we will be playing that on the way out. So Coffee, you go ahead and you get the last question of the night.
I feel honored. How old were you when you realized music is something that was your thing? You were gonna stick with it.
I was 4. I remember vividly. I remember my dad was in the army and we moved around a lot. My dad ended up having a drug problem or whatever, so we would move around a lot. And during this time, we went back to Puerto Rico, and I was going to school in Puerto Rico, and I remember being in first grade, and the music teacher in first grade was like asking everybody what they wanted to be, and I vividly remember saying, I want to be a singer and I want to play music, and I was 4, and that's all I wanted to be. And so when I got into high school and I met my best friends in high school, guy named Alex, who's like my mentor, and then my other buddy Vinny, who we're still friends to this day, and we started a band. Like they were both of those guys were like playing instruments already, so it was like, well, if Vinny's gonna play an instrument, I have to learn how to play an instrument. Like Vinny, I cannot not do what Vinny's not doing, right? So it's like Vinny got a guitar. I was like, well, I got to figure out how to get a guitar and get my dad to buy me a guitar because this is what we're gonna do. And my dad was working as like an activities therapist at a mental hospital, and just oddly enough, they were getting rid of all their instruments. So he brought home this shitty Spanish acoustic guitar because my parents had money. They weren't gonna buy me a fucking guitar, dude. Are you fucking kidding me? We could barely afford sandwiches. So he shows up with this guitar, and I was like, oh, sick. Vinny just started learning how to play guitar. So yeah, I always wanted to be a musician, and then I was like, once that guitar landed at the house, I mean, I played the ever living fuck out of that thing. First song I ever learned was "Doll Parts" by Hole. Still a fucking banger of a song.
It is.
At the same time, terrible song because it's so easy on guitar. But yeah, man, it was like I just remember always being obsessed. I mean, even like finally when I was a teenager and I started being in a band and I became the bass player in a band, that's when like I really got to scratch the itch. But before that, in middle school, in elementary school, I was always in the choir. In middle school, I had a fucking boy band. I was in like a straight up like Boys to Men cover band. Like one of my favorite artists of all time. I was like super big into R&B, and
like super.
yeah, just fucking. I literally had. I can find photos of me and my 3 other buddies trying to be Boys to Men. Like that was. I was obsessed with it.
Adorable.
I had the fucking pop-up glasses and everything in the 90s, bro. Like straight up, you know, I fucking hell yeah. Yeah, I just always was obsessed with it, man. So finally when I got a chance to like be in a band and I discovered like rock, it was like just full bore in, you know. I would, dude, when I bought my first bass because I would literally save my lunch money every week. My parents would give me $20 for lunch for the whole week for high school, and I never ate lunch. My parents were always like, why are you losing weight? And I was like, I don't know. And I'd come home just fucking starving. But I would save $20 every single day from when school started my freshman year in August until I got my birthday money from my parents and my grandparents, and then I got Christmas money. And not to date myself here, but then I got on like fucking the wheeler dealer. That's how I used to buy shit. And you call strangers because, you know, sure, 15 years old, let's call some weird guy in fucking Fort Lauderdale. You know, he's not going to fucking abduct me. So I saved all of my lunch money and I bought a bass guitar and I bought a Fender Squier P bass, and I bought a Galen Kruger head and a PV 18-inch 1980 like 9 speaker, and I slept with my bass every single day for a year. Ask my mom.
That's bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, since I was a kid, bro, I was 4 years old, and that's all I ever wanted.
That's fucking dedication right there. All right, so on that, we are out of here. Thank you for joining us, man. We appreciate it.
Of course.
On that, for you guys that are watching, please stick around. Check this out. This is their music video for Debt to Pay. On that, we will actually be back in another 45 minutes because we have another interview tonight.
Woo!
Love all y'all. See you in a little bit.
Welcome back.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
None of you seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.